Okay, let's do number 8. Number 8 is going to be the most tedious one. It's going to take the most work. But in order for me to kind of reduce the stress, GCF. Yes, guys, GCF. Okay, so let's go ahead and take out the greatest common factor of the numerator. It's going to be a 2. So n squared plus 5n minus 50. And down here, we have an n to the third, n to the second, and an n that's common. We have a 14, 136, and 40. And unfortunately, we can only take out a 2. So it becomes 7n to the second plus 68n minus 20. Okay, that bottom one is going to be interesting, denominator. Let's go ahead and factor the numerator. Okay, the sign negative right here tells me one is going to be a plus, the other is going to be a negative. N squared, have an n and an n here, that's going to make up that. Let's see, the factors of 50. We have 1 and 50. Now, guys, when we have a plus here and a minus here, that means that we're going to take the difference and arrive at plus 5. Okay, so we have to find some close factors that are close together. Okay, 1 and 50 is not going to work. 2 and 25 is not going to work. 3 is not it. 4, that's not it. 5 and 10. Now 5 and 10, that's going to work. Where does the 10 go? 10 goes on the positive and 5 goes on the negative, because we have a positive 5n. Now let's look at this 2n, and let's look at this, try to factor the denominator. Now this negative right here tells me that we have one positive and one negative. What is the only factor of 7? So I'm going to put a 7n here and an n here. Let's go ahead and look at the factors of 20. 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3, no, 4 and 5. That's it. Okay, let's start doing trial and error. But one of the things that we notice is that this middle number is pretty big, plus 68. And we're actually subtracting because we have a positive and a minus here. So we're going to try to make one number really big and the other one kind of small, so that when you subtract, you get a pretty large number, which is 68. So I'm going to go ahead and, since I'm not going to try with 4 and 5. Okay, I usually use 4 and 5 when the middle number is, the second term is pretty small. So I'm going to try to use 2 and 10. Okay, let's do 10 here because we're trying to get a large number, and you know that when you put the number here, it multiplies with 7. And then I'm going to put 2 here. And let's go ahead and try the O and the I. So 7n times negative 10 is negative 70. And then plus 2 to that is negative 68. What we see is that we got the number right, but we don't have the sign right. We need a plus. So what do I do with these two signs? I'm just going to switch them. Whoops. That wasn't my eraser. Whoops. Go back to my nice little light color. Okay, and this is going to be now the plus, and this is going to be the negative. So I have positive 10 times 7, which is 70, and then negative 2, which is 68. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the denominator now. It's completely factored. I'm going to go ahead and start taking its restriction. So I have an n here by itself, which means that n cannot be 0. Over here I have a 7n minus 2. I can do 7n minus 2 cannot equal 0, and then n cannot equal 2 sevenths. What happens when it equals 2 sevenths? This binomial turns into 0, which means this binomial, 0, times anything else is going to turn that whole denominator 0. How about this here. It means negative 10. So now that we've gotten its restrictions, let's go start simplifying. This is the fun part. Just like I told, I think I've told, did I tell all the classes? It's kind of embarrassing. I say that when you're simplifying, rational expressions, it's like a war between the denominator and the numerator, and whatever is common are the soldiers that die, and the restrictions remind you of the ones that got left behind. But anyways, that's so cheesy. Okay, so 2 and 2 gets taken out, and then n plus 10 and n plus 10. So in the numerator, we have an n minus 5, and in the denominator, I have an n times 7n minus 2. Okay, just make sure. N minus n, 7n minus 2. Yes, I got it right. And so, there we go. That's the final answer. Okay, good job.